Welcome back to Unbroken Voices, the pool of intimacy, fear, forgiveness, and renewal in Unbroken Promise. I'm Sydney Brown, and today we step further into the heart of Unbroken Promise with chapters 9 through 13. These pages move from the tender pull of intimacy through the fear of truly staying into the raw reckoning of forgiveness and its quiet alchemy, all the way to the first whispers of renewal. It's where vulnerability stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like possibility. We'll read longer passages straight from the book so you can feel every brushstroke. If you're in that space of wanting closeness, but fearing what it asks of you, these chapters were written for you. Let's begin. Chapter 9, the pull of intimacy, that suspended moment between longing and trust. There is a moment in every painting where the brush hesitates, hovering just above the canvas, unsure if the next stroke will bring the image to life or ruin it completely. That is how I felt with Isabel. We were not lovers, not yet. But we were not strangers either. We were something in between, suspended in a space that felt both sacred and dangerous. She came by the studio late one evening. "You always paint the moment before," she said, "never the moment after." "What would it look like," she asked, "if you painted what it feels like to be held?" We sat on the floor. She told me about her own fears, how intimacy had always felt like a transaction. We were two people who had learned to ration affection. That night, I began a new canvas, two figures, not reaching but resting, one curled into the other, their bodies forming a quiet shelter. No tension, no distance, just presence, just peace. I did not know if I could live that moment yet, but I could imagine it. And sometimes imagining is the first step toward believing. That image of two figures, resting, not reaching, just resting, stays with me. Intimacy isn't always grand gestures. Sometimes it's the quiet choice to stay close without bracing for the fall. If closeness feels both magnetic and terrifying right now, this chapter reminds you, imagining it is already brave. Chapter 10, the fear of staying. When beginnings feel safe, but permanence feels like a trap. I have always been good at beginnings, but staying, that is where I falter. Staying means letting someone see the parts of you that do not fit neatly into a canvas. We were sitting on the rooftop of her apartment. "You always look like you're halfway out the door," she said. I told her about my childhood, how my father left without a word. "You're not him," she said, "and I am not her. We get to choose what kind of story we write." That night, I painted with soft yellows and warm browns. I realized that staying is not about certainty. It is about choosing someone even when the fear does not go away. Before I slept, I wrote in my journal, "I do not know how to stay, but I want to learn, and that is enough for now." Staying when fear lingers, that's the real test, not the absence of doubt, but the choice to remain anyway. This chapter is for anyone who's ever felt halfway out the door while secretly hoping someone would ask them to stay. Let's take a quick break and enjoy some music. Chapter 11. The Reckoning of Forgiveness. Coming face to face with old wounds. I arrived at the gallery just as the golden hour bled into the high windows. From the corner of my eye, I caught a profile I had not expected to see. Clara Montrose. Clara and I shared a history painted in heartbreak. She slipped through the crowd. "Elias," she whispered. We found a quiet alcove. Old wounds flare, the raw ache of abandonment pulsing in my veins. Alone that night, I thought of Isabel's steady presence. Forgiveness, I realized, was that narrow passage between past and possibility. You risked self-preservation to step toward grace. And for the first time, I had the courage to cross. Forgiveness isn't pretty at first. It's a reckoning. But crossing that threshold, even when it trembles, changes the entire canvas. If old betrayals still sting, this chapter shows the quiet power of choosing to walk through anyway. Chapter 12. The Alchemy of Forgiveness. When pain begins to transform. I return to the easel before dawn. In place of my usual somber palette, I mixed soft rose, pale chartreuse, and a gentle amber. A week later, I invited Clara back. Threshold of Grace. Two figures stood within a golden arch. But the next morning carried an unexpected sting. A local critic accusing me of being too sentimental. That evening, I met Isabel. Being kind in a harsh world always carries risk, she said. But every stroke of compassion makes the world more vivid. Back in the studio, I titled it Resurgent Heart. Forgiveness had reshaped my art and my spirit. And though its alchemy carried unexpected fallout, I realized its true power lay in teaching me that healing is not a single stroke, but an ever-evolving masterpiece. Alchemy, that word captures it perfectly, turning what was once gray and heavy into something luminous. Even when the world pushes back, forgiveness quietly changes everything. Let's take our last break before we get into our last chapter. Chapter 13. Whispers of Renewal. The First Signs. that healing is taking root. The gallery's stale air still trembled with the echo of the critic's words. That afternoon, I discovered a stack of handwritten letters. A veteran who painted his PTSD. A teenager who found courage. Moved, I signed up to volunteer at a community art therapy workshop. That evening, I opened Whispers of Renewal. In my journal that night, I wrote, "When we choose forgiveness, we listen to the whispers of renewal within every broken heart." And I closed the book, ready to follow those whispers wherever they might lead. Renewal doesn't arrive with trumpets. It whispers, through letters, through clay, through small acts of kindness. These chapters show that the promise is already unfolding, one brave stroke at a time. Unbroken Promise is waiting for you on Amazon. Grab the Kindle edition, free with Kindle Unlimited, or paperback, and keep reading. You can listen to me on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, audio only, Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon Music/Audible. Search Unbroken Voices, or follow at Unbroken Promise 2 for every new episode and direct links. Share on X at Unbroken Promise 2. Which of these chapters spoke to your own journey? Your stories become part of this conversation. Thanks for walking these intimate, healing pages with me. Next time, we'll move into vulnerability as masterpiece and the trial of the heart. Your fears, your stain, your forgiveness, they're all turning into light. Keep listening to the whispers. I'm Sydney Brown. Take care of your brave, beautiful heart.